Did Dungeons & Dragons kill the Dark Sun campaign setting?
Players, there has been a murder.
It appears that it could be a while before Wizards of the Coast revisits the post-apocalyptic Dark Sun campaign setting. Speaking with Bob the World Builder last week, D&D design studio executive producer Kyle Brink was asked about the potential of a Dark Sun revival. I'll be frank here, the Dark Sun setting is problematic in a lot of ways, Brink responded, and that's the main reason we haven't come back to it. We know it's got a huge fan following, and we have standards today that make it extraordinarily hard to be true to the source material and also meet our ethical and inclusion standards. We know there's love out there for it, and God, we would love to make those people happy, but we got to be responsible. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Dark Sun, it's set in a world dying because of magic. It's about as far from traditional D&D style fantasy as possible, with characters using psionics instead of traditional divine or arcane magic, and tough choices about morality as a part of nearly everything you do. This is a world where resources are entirely scarce, and every decision comes with life or death consequences. The world of Dark Sun was brought to life thanks to the artist Brahms' fantastic paintings, who turned these strange alien desert scavengers into iconic fantasy images that linger in many D&D fans' heads to this day. The Dark Sun setting also contains a fair amount of themes and tropes that aren't appropriate for modern-day audiences. Most notably, slavery and other systemic oppression is built into the world itself, and there are everything from evil sorcerer kings who rule over the populace, and other tropes like enslaved gladiators fighting in arenas and the like. Now, Dungeons & Dragons, of course, has moved away from making slavery a central part of any of their worlds, due to the real-world prejudices and struggles that many groups have faced. However, Dark Sun could easily just drop slavery altogether, without sacrificing any of the other central themes of the setting. After all, systemic oppression of the masses doesn't necessarily mean slavery. In fact, the systemic oppression of the masses by the powerful, who are also ravaging the world of all of its resources, that's been found in plenty of other fictional works over the years, which have nothing to do with, enslavement or other themes. We've seen it in everything from Cyberpunk 2077 to Dune to Captain Planet. Scraping away the parts of Dark Sun that aren't marketable or aren't appropriate to a modern day audience wouldn't be that much different than dropping the generalisms away from various races or species or whatever we're calling ancestries in D&D nowadays. Or it's not too different from any of the other updates that Wizards of the Coast has had to make to various other campaign settings without any setbacks to their sales or much pushback from the fan base. Now, the most interesting thing is something that I found out when looking into this entire Dark Sun conversation. If Wizards of the Coast doesn't feel like it's appropriate to touch Dark Sun, they have some folks who are very attuned to modern sensibilities who would be interested in updating that world. Ajit George, the lead designer of Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel, has even spoken about being interested in using Dark Sun as a way to explore themes that counterbalance the hope punk themes found in the Radiant Citadel campaign setting. It would be interesting to see Dark Sun and Radiant Citadel on the bookshelves together, representing a spectrum of sorts of the various types of stories you could tell using Dungeons & Dragons. Now, we do acknowledge that tackling a Dark Sun revival in a way that both respects the source material and also respects modern day sensibilities and looks at things in a way that is appropriate to a modern day audience would take a fair amount of work, and it's probably also appropriate to say that it's not necessarily a project that Wizards wants to work on when they're trying to craft a new edition. However, Dark Sun still has some great themes that really strike a chord in players in ways that the Forgotten Realms or Eberron just don't. After all, what is a better story than figuring out how to save a dying world when the rulers of that world have stacked the odds against you in epic ways? So do you think that Dark Sun will ever return on a D&D shelf? Let us know in the comment section, and don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons.